All right, guys. Hey, welcome to our Monday sales call. I'm excited to be able to have Joseph Salcido with us. Um, I've had a chance to meet him for the last 2, 3 months and hear his story, watch him come to the Vegas lock-in and dial and rip, and watch his progression in this business. And it's a great one. You know what I mean? He has a phenomenal story. And last month, over 35,000 issue paid. Like Joseph, congratulations, because a lot of people don't do that in the industry, let alone in our company. You know what I mean? Think about this too, Joseph, and I want you to know this. Limra, who does all the like life insurance marketing research, the average person in life insurance does $43,000 a year in terms of paid business. You almost did that in 1 month.
That's crazy.
You know what I mean? So like kudos to you, bro. You're crushing it. So for those that don't know your story, Joseph, if you can kind of quickly share with them who you are, how long you've been with Family First Life, how you found this, what your background was, all that good stuff.
So yeah, thank you for having me on the call. First of all, pleasure to be here. My name is Joseph, of course. I've been doing this for around 10 months now. I got into it through Hanan. I was just working my 9 to 5. I was tired of working that life. I was always, just living check to check. I was just scrolling on Instagram one day, getting ready to go to work, and then I seen Hanan post on a story. He got a Benz, and I was like, bro, how you get a Benz? You're only 20, 19 years old. Put me on. So I just messaged him about it. Uh, got into it from there. Just started doing everything I needed to do to get the contracting and the licensing. Took me around 3 weeks. As soon as I got everything situated, it was locked in from there. I just tried to do everything I could, everything in my power to get out of that situation and actually become full time in this. But as far as myself going, to the beginning, uh, I've been I've been on my own since I was 16. I was a foster kid growing up my whole life. I was adopted in like 2011, 2012. As soon as I was adopted, let me just say, my whole foster family just switched on me and they were really bad people. Just to put it all into sum, they took advantage of foster kids to actually get the money each month. They ended up kicking me out at 16. From there, I was just, renting rooms out of apartments, not apartments, out of coworkers, friends' houses, just trying to find somewhere to lay my head down at night. Through that situation, I was trying to find jobs to make money, make ends meet, and actually be able to, survive. Through that whole entire situation from 16 up until now, I have developed a mindset, an undefeatable mindset that I want to be successful in life and not go back to that situation. I have slept in my car many times for months, going to 24 hours to go to the gym just to have somewhere to take a shower. From there, I'll just be working out, passing time throughout the day, go to work. And that was my cycle for probably around like 7, 8 months. That was 2022. Finally got my own, my own place, got my own apartment, have my son. Life really turned around in 2023. And then I found this business. And then ever since then, I just been, trying to found something that was able to give me the success that I needed and what I was looking for, and pivot away from being financially unstable and actually living that life that I didn't want my son to live. I'm trying to be successful. That's my really motivation in everything. I just don't want to look back at that and actually live through that again because that was really, first of all, really depressing. Nobody wants to live through a lifestyle like that. And no money, everybody needs money to live.
Yeah, you know what's crazy, Joseph, and I appreciate you for being vulnerable and sharing that. Um, Sean Mike says it all the time. He goes, the beauty of what Family First is we're all messed up. We're all a bunch of misfits. We just came together and did this insurance thing and we kill it, right? And
Right.
I'm like, yeah, dude. Like, and the person, by the way, for those of you that go, I'm not messed up, dude, you're probably the most messed up one. Like, at least we're able to admit it. You know what I mean? But I say that because like you said something that like dawned on me because you're like, I don't want my kid to be able to witness and experience what I witnessed and experienced, right? And that's part of us being parents and a father to be able to give our kids a better life.
Right.
And the craziest part is for you to understand that at your age, man, and to be able to be put in a position where you are to be able to provide that for your family, like that's cool. You know what I mean? Because that's the nice part about like life is like it's not how you start, it's how you finish.
Hmm.
And I always tell like people go, how did Joseph do that much? I'm like, bro, like he's probably gone through more than you've ever been through. That's why.
It's
So
facts.
like your bad day is nowhere near his. And so like when he gets hung up on the phone call, when he gets cussed out on the phone, he's like, dude, I've had it worse. Because you have, Joseph. It's all perspective for us. You know what I mean? So so you meet so you see Hanan's story. By the way, that's another
Mhm.
nugget for those of you that don't know social media. Everybody's watching. They are. Nobody wears their problems on their sleeves. But what happens is them asking you, going, "Hey, how'd you do that? Hey, I'm just curious. Like, would that work for me?" That's them piquing themselves and be trying to be recruited themselves. This is why I share everything we do because you don't know who's actually hurting, right? So you meet Hanan, you're like, dude, you got a Benz at like 19, 20. Like, that's awesome. Like, how did you do that? Put me on game. When you got started, how long did it take for you to get good at this?
Well, when I was first doing it, I was doing it part time. So, I was
Right?
still working my 9 to 5 because I need money to pay the bills. I was waking up at 4 in the morning. So I was waking up at 4. I would start dialing from like 4:30 to 6:45, give or take, so I could have enough time to go to work and clock in at 7. That would give me around an hour, almost 2 hours to have that dial time in the morning. I would clock out at 4 o'clock. From there, I would dial for another 2 hours, from 4:30 to like 6:30. And I was just on that schedule consistently for 5 months until I seen the profit in my bank for me to be actually comfortable enough to quit my job and have the income to go all full time with this business. And during that 5 month period, it was really just, me trying to get a grasp of things and actually get a feel for the business and understand how to talk to people on the phone and get out of my comfort zone because I've been an introvert my whole life. And door knocking helped a lot with that, matter of fact. But as soon as I saw that, I quit my job. I went full time. I started full time in October. I've been doing it full time since then. But October, November, and December were really, really rough months for me. I wasn't sure if it was the holidays or what was going on. I wasn't spending much on leads either. That was another factor.
Probably the answer.
Um, right. But I really wasn't seeing any profit. I kid you not, by January, I lost almost all the money that I had saved up to transition into full time. Once January hit, I said, you know what, something needs to change. I need to do something. I have to find a way to make this work. I'm not going back to work. I do not want to do that. I hated working. It's depressing as hell. But I watched your boot camp video. That helped a lot. That helped tremendously. I took tons of notes. I filled out a notebook like 120 pages. I wrote my own new script. A lot of new agents use that script now too as well. And then I just started buying leads consistently every week. I've been buying leads every week now since the second week of February, I believe, or the first week of February. And that really changed a lot. February and March completely just blew up in the in as far as, making the money back for the leads I'm spending and then actually getting the business to where I want it to be. And I think that big change was just me making a new script, tailoring it to everything that I actually learned and utilized from doing that 5 month period, and then just buying leads consistently. That's a big thing that I didn't really believe in at first, buying leads every week, but I 100% see it now.
Got it. So, because here's the other thing. And by the way, like I know Hanan and both James, like they can instruct you to buy leads every week. But if you don't do it, it's because you don't want to do it. Does that
Right.
make sense? Like we work with agents all the time. We're like, hey, this is why we call it stacking the deck. Like you always have to stack the deck and have,
Mhm.
your stuff. But at the end of the day, I'm not the one charging your credit card. But once it clicks for you to go, all right, I need to do it. All of a sudden, Joseph, you're like, all right, in January, like I damn near lost everything I had, possibly back against the wall, had to go get a job again, possibly, right? And then you were like, starting Feb, I was like, I'm gonna buy my leads. And what did you write in Feb? Premium.
Um, I think in February I wrote a little under 20.
It was like
I
17, 18. Yeah,
Yeah,
I remember that. And then in March, because now you have momentum on your side, 35.
right.
And but here's what's crazy. James will tell you, Hanan will tell you, Trey, everybody we work with will tell you, you already had that in you. You just had to have the belief that you were actually going to shell the money out and that you were going to work and let it come back
Right.
in.
And that's the biggest thing when buying leads. You know, people don't want to spend that much money and they'd be like, oh, I'm not gonna make the money back. I don't want to lose that. But it really just depends on you and how bad you want it.
Right.
It all comes down to that.
So in Feb, you start buying leads. What was your lead purchase a week like at that time?
Well, since January, I've strictly just been buying final expense leads off the CRM. And depending on whether or not they, drop a discount code or not, like a 10, 15, 20%, I usually just buy the 60 batch. I spend anywhere between 850 to 1200 a week on those.
Okay.
I just this week actually I did that and I bought some aged vet leads as well. Just to try it out.
Right. So in the beginning, you were spending 800 bucks a week. So the first month in Feb, you were basically doing that. You're right about 17, almost 20 grand, right? Which is right around the numbers. And then in March, because you stacked the deck for over a month, correct me if I'm wrong, because I don't know your story, but I'm almost willing to bet this is true. There were some sales you made in March for the leads you bought in Feb.
Yes.
Yes.
There
Now,
was some sales I made in March and February from the leads I bought in June last year.
right. But
Right.
you want to know why that's the case. And this is for all the brand new agents on here. People go like, why do we buy leads every week? Because what happens is you're just building your book, right? You're building a portfolio of leads. And like you're stacking 100 and another 100, another 100, another 100, another 100. And what happens is like the timing of when the client answers is when they answer. There's no other way to say that. And so what happens is now you're in March and your lead binder is bigger than it's ever been. So when you sit there and actually start calling people, you have more people to call,
Right.
which has more opportunities to sell, which is why you did sell.
100%.
That's it. People go like, man, like, how did he sell so much? I'm like, because he's invested leads for like the last 2 weeks, 2 months, I'm sorry. Right. And people go, I didn't get a result in week two. This doesn't work. I quit. And this is why, Joseph, I always say in our business, like to each his own. But for me, this is something I said for years. People don't fail at this. They just quit prematurely. Right
Right.
before the
I
breakthrough,
agree.
right before it's about to get good, they're not willing to suffer a little bit more for them to ride that wave. Because like in January, you were hit that with that decision, right? Because
Yeah.
you could
I
have
mean,
gone back
I
to the
really
job.
did get smacked in the face, but I was just like, you know what? I'm not gonna put in all that work and then just turn back now when it gets bad. I mean, this was inevitable to happen either way. Bad things happen in business. This is just my turning stone to actually, see what I can do to make things change and go full in with
Right,
everything that I have.
right. And here's the craziest part. And this is for like all the new agents on the call. You're all going to go through that point. You're all going to go through that breaking point. There's nothing that your manager or upline or sponsor or whatever you want to call them, there is nothing they can do to stop you from experiencing that. You have to go through it. It is part of learning in our business. There's going to be times where you literally are sitting there going, "Holy crap, I might have made the wrong decision.
Right.
I probably should have went to do something else. I might
Second
should
guessing
get my job
everything.
back." That's the point you know you're about to break through. Fair, Joseph?
I agree, 100%.
Yeah,
It really fixes your mindset. You're just like, just going back to how much you want it. You're just like, nah, I do not want to go back to work. I want to make this work and I'm going to, no matter what I have to do to do it.
right. The pain of getting a job is way more than the pain of you dialing,
Right. I agree.
right? And so like that's where people like when I sit down with people and they're like, "Man, dialing is hard." I'm like, "Dude, working at a job is hard. Choose your hard. It's going to be hard no matter what. Which one's going to be beneficial for you at the end of the
Yeah.
day?"
I mean, comparing it to, like the job I was saying when I was sleeping in my car. I was traveling all over California. I was going, all the way up to Clovis, Bakersfield, down to San Diego every week traveling. And I was doing a contracting job for Home Depot. So I was like, helping them take down the beams and the towers and all this heavy lifting. Comparing that, I would get paid $1,000 a week for that. Not only the money, but the mindset that position in my life put me through is nowhere near compared to what this can actually do for you. Like, why would I want to go back to that? Why would anybody want to go back to a job like that or anything that's not going to pay you for what you're actually worth?
You were doing a lot of physical manual labor, like heavy lifting, all that stuff, moving beams.
Yeah, yeah, these beams were like 150, 200 pounds each, and we would have to like lift them up. and hammer them in, put all the tools back. You've been to
Right.
Home Depot. I'm pretty sure you know how they
Yeah.
look.
Here's why I say this, Joseph. My mom, God bless her soul. I don't know how she actually learned this because my mom only has a sixth grade level of education. But she told me something when I was a kid that I'll never forget. And she said, Steve, I want you to know that like average people work with their hands. Really, really, really smart people work with their heads. And I was like, what do you mean? And she was like, look at your dad. Your dad's a chef, meaning he has to carry this stupid, what do they even call them? The walks? Like, you know what I mean? Like those big old,
All the wok pans.
yeah, you know what I mean? Like they're heavy, right? And he's like, he has to carry that every day. And then like my father-in-law, like he was in construction manual, like he worked with his hands and they're exhausted, physically worn down.
Right.
And I go, and the hardest thing we do, Joseph, is we sit like you right now, me too. We sit in an AC office, dialing on the phone. Yeah, life is miserable, bro. You know what I mean? Like that is the perspective that I want people to understand. It's like hard compared to what? Like the my father-in-law, it was a learning lesson. I'll never do this again in my life. When they moved to Southern California, we bought a home. They bought a home like down the street from us. And he was like, son, you're gonna help me pour concrete. And I was
Mhm.
like, bet, I'm in. Never done it in my life. Bro, that was like the worst thing I could have ever done. You know what I mean?
I don't know
Hey,
how.
Joseph,
I
no
definitely feel
surprise, the very next month I went VP because I was like, I ain't never doing that shit again.
you.
There is no way I'm going to
Right?
do that. You know what I mean? Manually
Yeah.
pouring it in there. Hell no. So I say that because everybody on here is like, I've talked to people literally where they go, how did he do it? I'm like, dude, like, I don't think you understand. He's just gone through things that like give him perspective on what hard actually is. And this isn't hard for him. This is a normal day for Joseph, right? And
Right.
so that is the perspective that we have. Diving into like, let's dive into your schedule now, right? Like you don't write 35 on you don't go from 17, 18 to like 35 on accident. And by the way, I'd be shocked if you didn't do 40 this month. What is your schedule like in order to produce that type of production? Like what is that like for you? Like what days did you get in the office? Because I know you work out of an office. What time do you get there? When do you leave? Like, you know what I mean? Like, what's that look like for you?
Well, I work 6 days a week. I
Okay.
just I just don't work Sundays. Um, Saturdays I dial from home, but the other days I do come here. I usually get here around 7:30, 7:45. I depending on the day, I can usually stay anywhere between 5, sometimes 6,
Okay.
sometimes 4. So I'm usually getting around 8, 7 to 9 hours a day to dial. And when I am dialing, I just, have the dialer running. I'm just dialing, keeping it going, and actually making sure that I'm still working.
So
But
here's the other question I have for you. When did you start going to Trey's office?
January, I think, either January or February.
Joseph, I'm gonna once again, bro, success leaves clues. He goes to the office in January, starts buying leads heavily first or second week of February. It is no surprise his best premium months came right after. It is no surprise. Like people go, how did he do it? Was it on accident? No, dude. The structure of being there. Like, because here's the thing, Joseph. You can be at the office and like not dial. And then what you do is in your mind, you're like, if I'm not going to work, I might as well be at home with my kid.
Right.
Like, why the hell am I going to be here? So if I'm going to be here, I might as well work and be
And that's
productive.
why, that's the main reason why I started coming here too. Because dialing at home, I have my girl there and my son. They're always constantly bothering me. And it's like, dude, I need to work. You need to let me lock in. You need to let me treat this as if I'll get fired if I don't work.
Right.
And so I just started coming in here so I could have more time to actually focus and be away from the chaos at home.
Right. That's a nugget, by the way, for those of you that are taking notes on the call. It's not that we, it's not that you can't work from home. And I know a lot of you do telesales, which we're all for, but it's a battle. And the battle is the chores at home. Hey, Joseph, can you take the trash out? Hey, can you mow the lawn? Hey, can we go to Sprouts real quick to grab some groceries? Because that's what kills your business. Because this is a question that I always tell people. I'm like, if I was at a job, would you ask me that question? No.
Right,
Like if you were at a job, like physically working at a job, your family wouldn't ask you to take the trash out at noon.
right, right. And that's
But because
exactly
you
what
work
I
from
expected.
home, you're available. You know
That's
what I
true.
mean? And
Hmm.
so the structure of telesales, if you have an office that's close by because you can't lock in, I'd go. You'd be shocked. Your premium would jump. And it's solely for the fact that you can lock in and dial. That's it.
Yeah, it's clutch too, because I only live like 2, 3 minutes down the street. So
And the other thing, Joseph, let's talk about this. Because you're in an office with James and Hanan and some of the other guys, it's kind of like a mini competition too.
yeah,
When
I
they
mean,
sell, you go, oh, I got to get mine.
right, right. I agree.
You're like, I can't bomb long enough. Can't happen. That doesn't happen when you're at home because you don't get to hear them. When they get hung up on, hey, let's just call it what it is. When I was new and I was at the office and someone got hung up on, I was like, hell yeah. Because I've been getting hung up on the whole damn time. I was like, we got to go through the suffering together. When I'm at home and I get hung up on, I want to just like hang up the phone and take a nap
Right. No, for
because you
sure.
can. Your bed is right there. Right. And so
Yeah, being
that's,
out the office definitely changes a lot of that.
yeah. You know what I mean? So I love that, man. So let's dive into it. So, okay, you go to the office 7:30, 7:45 to dial at 8. Why do I say that? Because most of y'all that are like self-employed, like dial time starts at 8. Y'all show up at like 8:42 because you can, because no one's gonna check you except for your own bank account, right? Joseph's smart. He's like, hey, dial time's at 8. I'm gonna be there at 7:30, 7:45. I'm gonna prep, get ready, get my mind right, get my table right, get the internet right, get the leads right. Everything's locked in. Boom, 8 o'clock, dial. Fair?
Fair.
So you dial there all the way through until 4, 5, 6 sometimes. Um, how many times, like, do you track how many dollars you make in a day?
I track everything. I keep
Cool.
track of a lot of things, but that.
Okay. Do you think you're probably making closer to like three, 400 calls or like 100 to 200 calls only?
Well, my ringy keeps track of how much calls I make. So usually when I check that, depending on how many calls I'm making throughout the day and how many presentations I'm making, usually anywhere between 5 to 700 dials, including with my dialer. That's probably another like 1,000.
I just want people to hear that because everybody thinks they can get away with making 125 calls. See, like when you make 125 calls while he's making 500 calls, you think you can get his result with a fraction of the work. I think you're delusional. Like it's not a secret because Joseph, you want to know what it is? I always tell agents you got to have 300 calls and 5 presentations a day, both. You're going 500 plus. And the dialer? Oh, yes, 1,000, easy. Right? How many
Right.
presentations do you get in a day, you think?
If I was to guess, maybe around 6 to 8.
6 to 8. How many of those do you think you close?
Two, 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 three, 2, 3, maybe 4 if I'm lucky.
Hey, here's the best part. Once again, we tell people 5. They can't even get to 5. You're getting 6 to 8. People go, like, how does he get more? Because he's dialing 5, 600 times a day while you only dial 125. Like he's gonna get way more action than you. And Joseph, this is not a slight. I don't even know if you're better than them. I just go, you work harder, which is why you have the result. See, selling insurance is not a skill or a talent. It's not like we're playing basketball. You have to be 6'7", jump out the gym, shoot it lights out, have a crazy handle. We sit behind a desk and call people. It takes no
Right.
talent to do that.
Right. From what I learned from the 10 months that I've been doing this, listening to other different people, some people have more skill than others, but not everybody's special. They don't have a certain talent that other people can't do. This business is replicatable and anybody can do it as long as you're coachable and actually putting in the work. The work is the most important part. You can't lead a horse to water and not make it drink, but you can actually provide the resources and the materials they need to become successful in it. But you got to be willing to put in the work.
I love that. So let's dive into it, man. Let's dive into some script stuff, right? You
Right.
go through the boot camp, you're watching some of that. You go, all right, I'm gonna put some scripts together. What does that sound like for you?
The script that I made,
Hmm?
ring ring.
Hello?
Hey, Steven.
Yeah, who's this?
Hey, Steven. My name is Joseph from the California Final Expense Department. I'm just calling you real quick regarding that request you had sent in for our state-regulated final expense and life insurance program. I have here the beneficiary down as Janelle Yee. Is that correct?
Yep.
Awesome. Well, like I mentioned, I'm the California State Underwriter assigned to your file and see what you can qualify for. It should only take around 5 to 10 minutes of your time. With that being said, Stephen, what was your main concern? God forbid anything happens to you that you want to make sure gets covered. Is that just enough to help take care of a burial, a cremation, maybe just leave some money behind to Janelle? What's going on?
To be buried so I don't have to burden them.
Okay, right. And that's just so we're on the same page, like you said, you want to get this put in place. That way, when the time does come, Janelle doesn't have to pay out of pocket for this.
Yep.
Right. Okay. And that's the most important thing. So what I'm going to do, I'm just going to go ahead and show you a few options and see what we can actually get you qualified for. It's going to ask you a few basic health questions, a couple financial questions. From there, I'll shop the nation's top A-rated insurance companies and find you the best rate possible. Sound good, Steven?
Sounds good.
Alrighty then, man. Well, with all that being said, how is your health right now? Do you have any major health conditions I should be worried about? Anything related to heart, lungs, kidney, liver, high blood pressure, diabetes, anything at all I do need to know?
Yeah, high blood pressure, diabetes for sure.
High blood pressure, diabetes. Okay. And the diabetes, is it type 1, type 2,
Yeah, I take metformin.
metformin? So it's well controlled.
Yeah, somewhat.
Alrighty. So as far as the high blood pressure and diabetes, you don't got anything too major I should be worried about then.
No, I had like a small stroke like years ago, but it wasn't a big deal.
Okay. That's usually not a problem. I could definitely still help you out with that. Moving on to finances, Stephen. Most of the people your age I do work with are on a fixed income, either receiving Social Security, pension, or disability. Are you currently receiving either of the three, or are you still working?
Yeah, I have a Social Security and a pension.
Gotcha. And how much are you roughly receiving from that each month, Stephen? Just a rough estimate.
2,700.
4,700. Okay, well, you're doing good for yourself for being on Social Security and pension. Let me ask you this, Stephen. When you do get that monthly, is it direct deposit to a traditional bank or credit union, or do you have an online bank only?
No, it goes to Chase.
Okay. The only reason why I'm asking that question is because not every insurance company we work with takes every payment method, so that's important for me to know. All right, so what we're going to be looking at here for you today, Stephen, and what I'm going to recommend for you is going to be a whole life program. What that means for you is it's going to last up until you're 121 years old. Not many people really live that long, but it's there if you do, okay, Stephen? Now, it also does come with some living benefits where, God forbid, you were ever diagnosed with something and only have 12 months to live. You're actually able to access half of that policy while you are still alive. Whether you wanted to pre-plan for that burial, go on a final vacation with Janelle before you passed away, or more often than not, 9 times out of 10, when somebody is diagnosed with something, they don't have the money to help take care of that condition. These living benefits can provide that money for you so you can go ahead and take care of that. Now, it also does come with accidental. So, God forbid, Stephen, you ever do pass away due to an accident, your coverage amount would actually double, and your beneficiary would receive 2 times the original amount of coverage. Now, it is a whole life policy, so it is going to be building some cash value for you as well. What this means, Stephen, is as you make your monthly premiums over time, there's going to be additional money built into the policy, which you can utilize while you are still alive. Now, lastly, but most importantly, Stephen, it is going to be day one immediately effective. So no 2 year waiting period. The insurance kicks in immediately. Your coverage amount will never go down and your premiums will never go up, no matter how old you get or what health conditions you may acquire. Now, I know that was a lot to take in, Stephen. Do you have any questions for me at all?
No.
All right, you sound good. Go ahead and grab out a pen and paper. I'm going to give you a few options to write down.
Okay.
All right, now I am required by the state, Stephen, to give you my full name and license number. With this information, you can go on all your local, state, and government websites to verify I am who I say I am. So again, my name is Joseph Salcido. Let me know if you need help spelling any of that.
Okay.
License number 211-782-64.
Okay.
All righty. Now, Stephen, are you aware on how much a burial can cost in the state of California?
Yeah, probably like 20.
Right. So depending on how fancy you want it to be, whether you want a viewing, flower arrangements, dove release, the whole shebang, it gets pretty pricey. So it could be anywhere between $10,000 to $25,000. My job is to get something put in place. That way Janelle doesn't have to pay for that when the time comes. So starting off small, I'm gonna show you a few options and gradually work my way up. You just let me know which one works best for you. So starting off at 10,000, we got 10,000, including all of those benefits that I mentioned to you earlier. You're looking at around $62 a month. The second option I'll be showing you is 15,000 in coverage. Again, it's going to include all of those benefits I mentioned. You're looking at around $82 a month. Now, the last option I'll be showing you, Steven, is for 20,000 in coverage. Again, it's going to include all of those benefits I mentioned earlier. You're looking at $102 a month. Now, Steven, you can qualify all the way up to 40,000 in coverage. So if you did want to see a little bit higher, we always could. Or do those three options fit more in your budget?
Yeah, those fit. Those fit.
Alrighty.
Middle
So
one works best.
you said either one?
The middle one.
The middle one. Okay. Well, it's my job to see if we can get you that approval. I'm just going to go through the application with you real quick. Should only take around another 5 minutes. Get the instant decision. Policy will be in your mailbox in around a week and a half from now. Okay.
Okay.
Alrighty. Now just verifying your name is spelled Steven, last name Yee.
Yep.
Gotcha. Now, Steven, is this your first time applying for life insurance through a private company, or have you done this before?
It's my first time.
Okay, so I'm gonna make it pretty quick and painless for you. There is two very important things the company is gonna need for you to make sure we can even get you the approval. The first thing, they are gonna need your social. One, they do want to verify you are Stephen Yee and not just some random person filling out an insurance application with your information. Secondly, this is what your beneficiary is gonna use during the death claims process. That way, when they go to receive the money, the social security that's on your policy will match the social security that's on the death certificate. So they actually have proof to receive the funds. Now, getting into that, Stephen, excuse me. As far as the Social Security, the first thing we are going to need from you is, the second thing we are going to need from you, Stephen, is a banking info. That way, upon your approval, I'm gonna go ahead and draft that first premium on the day of your choice. From there, it'll come out automatically each month using the routing and account number for the checking account you plan on using to make the payments with. So whenever you're ready, Stephen, go ahead and start off with your social.
That was smooth. That was good. Hey, y'all know why he sells so much? That was good. That was so good, Joseph. I'm not even kidding, bro. Like, there's a few things I want to talk about, okay? Because I've been doing this quite some time. Y'all notice that like his mannerisms and his tones was like here, he was level-headed the whole time, in control of the conversation. Nothing was bothering him. He was like like we talk about it. He's like a state employee. Like, I just got to get this to you. Hey, I just got to ask you a few questions regarding your health and finance, show you some options, shop it for you, whatever. Like, he's here. He's level-headed the whole time, right? Um, the other thing you did was you're smart, by the way, and I'm pretty sure someone taught you this, is like after you asked me for the beneficiary name, you never called them beneficiary ever again. You're like,
Right,
hey, if something happens, like you want Janelle to have this, right? Like you wouldn't want her to, because it's funny because like even though you're saying it, and I'm like, I know what he's doing. In my mind, when I'm listening to it, I'm like, no, I don't want my wife to do that.
right. It paints a picture.
You know what I
That's
mean? Like,
that's the
and
gym
that's why
code.
I'm like, it's the little things that just increase and get you so much better compared to a agent that doesn't do that. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Does anybody have any questions? Because please feel free to drop them in the chat. I would love Joseph to be able to answer on any of these questions. Like, Joseph, like, I get why you sell so much.
Thank you.
And by the way, it's not like you said, it's not special. You've just done it so much that it like rolls off your tongue.
Right. Eventually, it's just like everything else. You do it for long enough, you get good at it.
How long do you think it took before you were like able to be that confident?
Maybe I'm gonna be honest, probably like 4 months.
4 months. No, that's a good answer because some people have been here for 3 weeks and they go, "This sucks." Bro, you haven't put the work in yet, right?
Right,
Like
right.
that's what like this is why I'm just trying to get people to understand like I think Josh was saying it earlier. Like, dude, like the overnight success takes 6, 7 months, bro. We just recognize them overnight. But the
Mhm.
work has been planted for months. You know what I mean, Joseph? Like you just started banging out on a leaderboard to the point where we're like, yo, we need a picture for him because he's on top five, top 10, top two, right? Like, but you've been doing this for 10 months. You're just getting recognized for it now because the work is starting to pay off. You know what I mean?
Right.
So I love that, dude. Like that is so good. Janelle has a question. She said, at what point did you decide to get a dialer?
Uh, funny thing about that, I really didn't want to get a dialer, but Hanan told me to. He was like, "Dude, do
Smart.
it. It'll be really good. Just invest the money." So I kind of got, nah, kind of. I did get a dialer around, I want to say, early February.
Okay.
early February or late January, somewhere around then.
And how many appointments does she set for you? How much premium do you think you wrote from what she got you? How
She's
much she got you?
she sets quite a bit of appointments, but just like 9 times out of 10 with every other appointment, not a lot of people show up. She's had given me 2 live transfers now. I sold 2 off of her already. I want to say in commission that probably got me maybe like 13, 1400.
Okay. So it's definitely probably more than what she's cost you, give or
Right.
take. Yeah.
Hmm.
Okay. And that's the other thing is like once you zero in on that, you know what I mean? Like it only gets better and better. Like, cause I know when I was talking to Hanan, it was funny because he was like, yeah, like my dialer live transferred me like 12 grand in business. And I was like, should probably get a second one, bro. It's good math. You know what I mean? Um, Guys, it's yeah, you can find a dialer online. You can go to Upwork, hire them. I know some people run dialing VA firms. I wouldn't go that route because they cost too damn much, but that's just me. But okay, cool. So, what is the number one objection you get?
It's really, I need to think about it. I get that a lot.
Okay. What do you
Most of
say
the
when
time,
you
I
say
don't
that?
get, oh, I don't want to give you my social or bank. That's really smooth to get around. But a lot of the time, I get people who say, I want to think about it.
So, what do you say when they tell you that?
Um, Pretty important. First of all, Stephen, it's very important to make sure that we can even get you the approval before you have anything to even think about. Now,
Okay.
like I said, upon your approval, you're going to receive that policy in the mail around a week and a half from now. From there, the company is going to give you an additional 30 days to make any final decisions at all. So what we're doing right now, this is not permanent. This is just to make sure that this is a good fit for you. And so that way you can receive it in the mail. And let me ask you this, Stephen, how old are you?
72.
You're 72 and you still haven't taken care of this. I think you've had quite a long time to think about it. So let's go ahead and get this taken care of real quick. It takes around 10 to 15 minutes. That way, God forbid anything happens, we know Janelle's going to be taken care of. Okay.
Okay.
All
So,
right.
when you use that, how often do they actually put an app through versus they go, nah, I still got to think about it?
It's worked a couple times.
So here's why I share this with people. Okay. Like, and I love my wife, and I'm gonna put her on blast real quick. Like, she'll say that too, and not get an app here and there. And I'm like, it's all good. Because you're not supposed that objection is not supposed to work 100% of the time. It's gonna work sometimes, and then you can put an app through. But some
Right.
people just won't do it, which is fine. On to the next. Like sometimes I feel like as agents, new agents, like get so caught up with what to say and how to say it, and I go, my answer, I just call the next lead. You know what I mean? They're like, hey, the client said this, and I'm like, I would have said this. They're like, that's what I said. I'm like, perfect. And they're like, well, I didn't sell him still. I'm like, yeah, I would have called the next person.
Right. Just
Like it
move on.
wasn't that much deeper for me.
Can't help everybody.
You know what I mean? And that's where like we go to the whole like, I don't know if you've heard me say this. I'm like 25% of people buy no matter what. The other 25% won't buy no matter what. And then the 50% is where our skills come in, right?
Mhm.
And I go, some people are those bottom 25% that just won't do shit. Like it is what it is. I'm not trying to
Right.
convince you.
Yeah, I mean, you can give them every objection and a rebuttal in the book, and they just won't budge.
Yeah. And that's where like I'm like, why get mad about it? I just move on to the next. Like it is
Right.
not worth me exerting that much energy for to care for your family more than you should care for them.
Hmm.
That's but that's my answer. Some people are like, nah, that don't work for me. So push, go ahead. I don't care. But that's the reason why, Joseph, for me, I go, see, when you have a lot of leads like you do, and you go 6 to 8 presentations a day, it's not a shock when you sell 2, 3 policies a day and we go, oh, Joseph with the hat trick again. Like it's not a shock
Right.
because you're like, I didn't sell Betty, but I got 4 more.
Right. I mean, you always got people to call,
Right.
especially, if you, like I said, like you said, keep the, what is it, deck in your favors, stack the
Stacking
deck
the
in your
deck in your
favors.
favor. Yeah.
Buying all these leads consistently for months is gonna help you a lot in the long run because, like I said earlier at the beginning of the call, I sold 3 VA leads in February that I bought in June. I
Wow.
was just like, you know what? I'm gonna go back and call my first batch of leads. I sold 3, and I didn't even expect to get a hold of one. But it just comes to that amount of volume that you have in leads. You can always keep making the sale if you're still working consistently.
Let's piggyback on that. All right. So You bought them in June and you just sold them in Feb, right?
Right.
When you called those three people, did they already have something? I mean, did they not? Like, did you put them in something better? Or are they still looking? Like, what was that like?
N Neither of them, all three of them didn't have any insurance at all. But I remember speaking to two of them. I spoke to, well, one of them, they live in Hawaii. And I talked to his wife about it, and he was like, "Yeah, I just want to talk to my husband about it, yada yada yada." I've been trying to get a hold of them since then. Finally got a hold of them and got them taken care of real quick in like 15 minutes. The second guy, he, I believe he wanted to make sure that he actually had a bank or something like that. I don't know what it was. He was like, I don't know if I have my bank set up correctly. It was something really confusing. But I got back to him about it in February and was able to close him out as well. But going back to your question, none of them had life insurance.
Yeah. It's funny because we feel like, oh, they're old. Somebody would probably got it taken care of for them, right? Or we go,
Right.
I botched them when I called them the first time. I can't
Right.
call them back. Dude, what's funny is like you'll call them back and they didn't even know you talked to them last week.
Dude, that's the number of times that's happened to me.
Am I right? Just like we get agents that go, I already called them. I'm like, don't worry, they forgot already.
Right? Yes. Like you can call a lead, all your leads for this month, and then just come back to them 6 months later. Not even 6 months, 2 weeks later, and they'll
Yeah.
have no idea that you're the same person. I have a story about that actually. A couple weeks ago when I made a sale, I called her and she was like, "Could you stop calling my phone? You called 3 times. If you call me one more time, I'm gonna cut off your head and shit down your windpipe." I was just like, "Whoa, whoa, whoa!" I called her back an hour later. I sold her.
That is
She
hilarious.
didn't even know it was me. She was talking to me on the phone. She was like, "Joseph, you want to hear something funny? I was on the phone with another person like you about an hour ago. I told him I'm gonna shit down his windpipe." She didn't even know it was me. Like,
Oh, that's so funny. That is good. That is so good. Janelle has a question. Do you feel like you were a different um person talking to them after a few months because you got much better since June?
100%.
Yeah.
For sure. No doubt about it. I mean, I definitely picked up a lot more skill and actually the way of utilizing my words to convince people to do something. And that's the skill set that you pick up the more people you talk to. And door knocking, like I said, helped a lot with that. Like I said, I was extremely introvert my whole life. Door knocking really got me out of my comfort zone to be wanting to talk to people without being nervous.
Did you door knock here or where did you door knock?
When I first started, I was door knocking in the summer too. It was June, July, August. Yeah, I was door knocking all up here, Victorville. I think I knocked on like three different apartment complexes. I sold probably like 15, 16.
Oh, wow. Good for you.
Yeah, it was a good amount.
There you go. I know James had to teach you that. He was the king of that. Um, but that's awesome, man. So as we wrap up, you know, Joseph, Josh asked a question, and I want to wrap up with this because it's a great question. What's next for you in the next 90 days? What's next for you in your business?
I really want to start, I guess, buying more leads weekly and using that money that I'm getting to invest more into the business. I want to build a team. I'm trying to expand and have people, some downlines. I've reached out to quite a few people I know. They're going through the process of getting licensed and everything. But really, my vision in the next 90 days is to actually have at least three downlines who are actively working and bless their lives as well.
I love how you just said that, bless their lives,
I
because
mean,
that's what this
100%.
is.
Right? This business has completely changed my life, like completely, like a whole 180.
Yeah. The cool part is like, and I was, we were talking, Hanan, or Hanan, I think you were there, and then Wyatt earlier today. You might mess around, bro, and like in 6 months, you'll never recognize yourself in this business ever again in a good way,
Right? That's what you were
because that's
saying
what this
before.
does for you. And you stack up like the last 2 months were really good. I'm assuming it's probably helped you out. Do that for the next 6 months, where you can put money aside, stack it, save it, invest in other things, bro. Like that's where things change, Joseph. You know what I mean? But I like the way you said bless other people because kind of like think about how crazy this is. There are people that you know, either on your, Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, whatever it is, whatever social people use nowadays, that were where you were a year and a half, 2 years ago.
Right. And there's people out there who, just like me, not knowing about this business can kill it just as much.
Right. And you have a system now because you've done it where you can
Mhm.
go, if you say this, you buy these leads, you buy this many leads, and you call them at this time, you will have this type of result.
Right.
And you can confidently train them and do that. You know what I mean? So, Joseph, I appreciate you, man. That was awesome. Thank you for taking time out your to Josh. You there or unmuted? I think that was an accident. Um, thank you for taking time out your day, man, and being able to share this with us because, dude, it's so cool to be able to watch someone like you be able to kill it in this business. And we know literally that you're just getting started. That's the
Yeah,
best
thank
part.
you. I appreciate having me on.
Absolutely, man. So we'll see you guys in Vegas in about 2 weeks. For those of you that are on the call that are local, whether you're in Cali or in Vegas, whatever it may be, we have our lock-in here in town, April 22nd, 23rd. We have Sean, Mike, Zach Trudowski, Andrew Taylor, and a bunch of guys that are coming in. We have the president of America that's going to be here, Jeremy Thornton, as well. So they're going to speak a little bit, but we're going to dial and rip, kind of like last time, man. We did 280 grand in 2 days. Like I think we're gonna smoke that this time, just being honest. So with the caliber of people that we have and with what you guys are doing, for those of you that want to lock in and actually focus because you have a lot of distractions, be a great time for that. So Joseph, thank you, man. Appreciate you. Can't wait, man. I can't wait to see where you end up at the end of the year. I hope for you to walk that stage with the red jacket because I know you can.
That'd be pretty badass.
That'd be very badass. So, Joseph, thank you. Have a great week, guys. And this upcoming Wednesday, we have a product call. We'll see you on. Be blessed. If you need anything, reach out and ask.